It is time, everyone, for the updated best hero abilities. Remember, this is only the light side. We've already covered the dark side. So we're going to get right into this, but first of all, let me know your list in the comments section. Let's dive into it, though, with the number 10 spot. And we are starting off with Obi-Wan Kenobi's all-out push. Now, I really didn't like this when it was first added to the game, but now with the 80% damage reduction, I think this is a pretty decent ability. Now, what lets this down is still the range. You can't go too wide with this ability, but when it comes to the distance, then it's pretty up there, I would say, for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And with that damage reduction now, it is much easier to use this mid-game and get some kills with it. The number 9 spot is taking us to Finn's deadeye ability. We know this ability, the aimbot. I still wish secretly it was as good as it was at launch. However, or I say at launch, when Finn was added like a month after launch, but this is a really nice ability to use. Just the fact for players like me who aren't too skillful, I can just shoot absolutely anywhere and it's going to lock onto the enemy. So satisfying when there's a crowded corridor and you can just use this deadeye and get so many kills with the ability. At the number 8 spot, we have Yoda's Unleash ability. Yes, sometimes it can be a bit glitchy, but when this works properly, it is a very epic ability. Charging up with Yoda, then throwing all that power back at your enemies. Obviously, you can throw Dooku's lightning back at him now, which is pretty good. I love this ability, and it's so satisfying when you get multi-kills with it. Han's Detonate Charge is at the number 7 spot. Probably the thing I like most about Han, to be honest. Very satisfying once again when there's a crowd of enemies and you can just throw this in, detonate it mid-air, and then a lot of players can die off that. Or you can attach it to a surface and maybe surprise attack someone, wait for the right opportunity, and then strike with the detonate charge. And speaking of strikes, let's move on to the number 6 spot with Rey's Dash Strike. There's cards that allow this to do more damage the more enemies it hits and stuff like that. But overall, rushing into a room with Rey's Dash Strike, knocking enemies to the ground, killing them in some situations as well. Very OP for Rey, one of the things I like about her most. But when combining this with the Insight, which is at the number 5 spot, it makes Rey much more of a formidable opponent. Insight allows unlimited stamina for Rey and reveals the location of enemies through walls, and there's a card as well that allows this to be active for longer. This is very OP with Rey. Her strikes are already very damaging. With the extra active time, the unlimited stamina, and combining it with the dash strike, this is why Rey is so overpowered in this game. At the number 4 spot, we are going with Luke's Force Push. Now, I remember a time when this never worked, but I do feel it's working a lot more right now. The 150 damage allows you to one-shot any of the classes except for the Heavy. I wish it could one-shot the Heavy as well, but personally I'd rather do something else with Luke, which I'll be talking about in another video when it comes to Luke. But very satisfying when you run into that room, use the Force Push, and then you can top it off with a Repulse as well. Obviously Repulse isn't on this list, but the Force Push is very overpowered for Luke. Just getting those nice easy kills, once again good for players like me who aren't too skillful. Lando's Disabler is at the number 3 spot, and I'm seeing people use this so much right now. In fact, I swear I'm seeing more Lando players now than I have ever before, and the Disabler is quite the ability. It allows you to see enemies through walls. Once again, you can choose when to detonate it, and when you do, you get to shock the enemies, and Lando can finish them off with the Sharp Shot or the X8 Night Sniper. There's no stopping Lando, and it has become one of the most annoying abilities in the game as well. At the number 2 spot though, Anakin Skywalker is up with Heroic Might. Very much like Heroic Might even after the nerf. At max now it can do 450 damage. I think stopping this ability getting the number 1 slot is the fact that enemies can block it. But if you're playing against a bunch of noobs who don't know how to block it, or you're playing against infantry who can't block it, then releasing Heroic Might is so satisfying, you have to admit. But not as satisfying as Anakin's Retribution, which is at the number 1 spot. That is right, the ability you have to charge up over a period of time by getting damage yourself or your enemies getting damaged, and then Retribution, there's no blocking this. You press Y, on Xbox at least, and everybody gets force choked, except Grievous sometimes. But yeah, on HRV, very satisfying to get those 4 kills. Doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's pretty insane. Galactic Assault, this ability tears apart teams, and I love it so much. It would be very overpowered if it was a normal ability, but the long cooldown is something I like. But let me know, everyone, did you agree or disagree with my list here today? I'd really love to know. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all next time.